Hello everybody, Reggie Time here with a update on the little challenge that I'm doing on the short deck tables on PP Poker. These are just $10 buying 100 antes in this game is $10, so it's like a $10 buying game, like 10NL for a really poor way of expressing it. Relatively new to this game. Already feel like I have an enormous edge in it against the field at this limit, and I can add a little bit of weight to that hypothesis by sharing the joyous information that I won 16 buy-ins yesterday in just 500 hands. If we go to look at my career results yesterday, as you can see, we won, I'm going to call it 8,000 chips, which is 16 buy-ins. I've been playing around 3 hours today. I'm up another 3 buy-ins nearly, which almost takes us to challenge completion, which is pretty cool. I said I wanted to win 20,000 chips, and we started at 10,000 chips, and now I'm on something like, what have we got here? Across the 3 tables, 1,500, say 2,000 for argument's sake. So we've now got 23,200 chips. So we're only like around 7,000 chips away from completing a challenge. I mean, that could, obviously, with the variance in this game, we could have a setback. But at the moment, a challenge that I thought would maybe take me a couple of weeks, you know, if we run well, might just take me a couple more days, who knows. Or we could still be doing this in 2 weeks' time, because shit could hit fans. We just never know, but it doesn't seem very likely. This guy's just never going to fold, so there's no point making it too small with our 3-bet. Since when does a 66/39 fall to a 3-bet? Not in this world. Oh, I thought he had. He did! Wow, he did fold. And this dude comes along, and we're reasonably deep with him on a board that I don't think we can get the money in really good here if we were to like bet call it off. So we're going to exercise a little pot control. Get a pretty crappy turn. Probably just going to fold if he bets, I think. Well, not for that price. We're not folding for that price, sir. I mean, I think we can lose to a lot of 2 pairs here. That probably wouldn't fold if we bet. Or we can just beat 9-6. That called a 3-bet pre-flop. I mean, that might happen too, evidently. These games are off the charts soft. I can sincerely say, with my hand on my stone cold heart, that I have never ever played in games as consistently soft as this. I was discussing it with someone last night, someone messaged me on Facebook about the games. It literally feels just one step up from play money. Now, I get it almost is play money, given that, you know, the 100 antes is just $10, so to a lot of people, that's not a lot of money. But still, if we could collect 15 lots of $10 a week by playing in incredibly soft games, then that's nice. I'm not going to be able to get away from this hand now. We've flopped a pair against somebody who has such crazy stats. If he's got us, then maybe we suck out. If he hasn't got us, then our hand could use some protection. He doesn't have us, and our hand can use some protection, which it did not receive. To explain the tags for this game, because they're different to my no limit hold'em tags, because there are no good regs in these games. Let's just get that bit straight from the off. I have not come across a single good regular in this game yet. The brown tags are the players who I presume are at least trying to play well. Or the orange tags, you're going to call it. The blue tags are just the standard fishy type players. And the pink tags, and this guy probably should be blue, not pink. He's probably pink from a different game we played. The pink tags are the guys who aren't really taking it particularly seriously. But make no mistake, this tag, if you saw 4 of these tags at a table, you would not be thinking, oh, Reggie's in a bad game there, because they are still, from what I've seen, and let's face it, I'm fundamentally unsound at this game, but compared to all the other players, I am the true teller, or the whoever else is really good at the Linus Love of $10 buy-in short deck poker on this particular club. I already know that I have the biggest edge I've ever had in poker games. I have in these games that I'm in right now. I've never had a bigger edge in any poker game I've ever sat consistently. Obviously, I've had tables now and then that have been like just off the charts in No Limit or Pot Limit Omaha or whatever. But I've never played a game where I can get 3 tables up and consistently just have an absolutely enormous edge. I'm going to go for a little blocker here, just because I don't really want to check call, and we do pick up some equity with the ace. We now have a double gut shot. And we get there. Don't think he's calling too often, but we'll have to put it in anyway, because he might just have 2 pairs and decide, fuck you, Reg. Here we have flopped the worst straight possible, and we've seen a bet and a raise. I'm going to knit it up here. Probably shouldn't have, bad luck of things. But with the lowest straight possible, like no redraw potential to get like maybe, I don't fucking know, maybe that was just too nitty. Never mind. Not going to lose much sleep over making a bad fold in games where there's so much value to be had. Mistakes like that aren't going to punish it too often. I've already been playing for 2 and a bit hours today. I'm only going to be playing this for another 30 minutes or so, because a young lady is coming to be supported by us this afternoon in our home, and she's turning up at approximately 12:30 in the PM, and it is currently 11:38, and I'm going to need a poo before she comes. Doesn't take me that long to have a poo, but she might get here early, so I don't want to be playing poker when she arrives. This sort of player here, they're the ones that, like, if it was no limit, this guy would be something like 17.5, 17, well, maybe even 17.2. He's only raising 3% and like 3 betting 1%. Absolute, total and utter waste of time, oxygen and skin. Doesn't appear to play particularly well either, although he does appear to win more than he loses, which goes to show that If the games of poker exist where you can play a 41/3 style and win way more often than you lose, if you're a good thinking poker player who is all about making money, then the games that you probably want to get yourself into. I've been discussing like right, hang on, what are we doing here? We had too much equity not to bet. Just bet and then call it off if needs be. I've been talking to some players recently about playing like anything that except no limit hold'em cash games, and these are guys that I genuinely have a lot of respect for as like no limit hold'em players. They're good players. Hang on, while we're in this bit, we don't have the nuts here, but we do have a straight and a flush draw. Now, paying this guy up when he overbets is not my idea of fun, but I don't think we can fold our hand just yet. Obviously, only ace-10 beats us, but there's a pretty good chance this guy has it when he overbets into two players. Overbets into multiple players, sorry. And when the board pairs the river, I don't think we're going to be putting any more money in multi-way. Just so easy. We're chopping at absolute best and very likely losing to one or more players. Do we want to 3-bet our hand here? We do. Just try and get some isolation. Try and get the dude heads up if we can. I'll get back to my point about the conversations I've been having with good no limit players in just a moment when we have a lull in the action. Not going to play that out of position. This two's just bet 5 chips, which is strange. Gambling with the ace king. Guess we're just calling here. Losing with the ace king, almost certainly. Yep. Never mind. We have a double gutter here, and I'm not a huge fan of his min bet double barrel. And we take it down. Yes, so, right. No, we've got aces now. Still can't make my point. You don't get many lulls in this game. I hope it makes some much better videos. Not to top set. We like top sets. We want to bet enough so we can just jam turns, if allowed. SPR of less than, well, as far as we're concerned, this makes me want to puke. I despise paying these types of players off, but top pair, top kick is just going to be too strong. We're just going to have to do it. Chop it up. Chop it the fuck up. I will get a point. If I don't get a chance to make the point I want to make, I will make it at the end of the video, because it's an important point that I want to make, or it's important to me anyway. Probably not c-betting, just a plain old gut shot here. Are we squeezing the king queen up? I don't think so. Showdown value now over here with our king queen. Not a lot, but if it checks through again, it might be the best hand. Does not check through, so it probably isn't the best hand. Feel motivated to just stab here with our king queen. We get called very quickly. We now have a full house. There's more chance we get a bluff from this guy here than we get him to call with worse. Maybe we bet small and he calls with a jack. There wasn't too many draws on that turn and we blocked them with the queen, but didn't feel like we had a good chance of getting called on a board of that texture. Felt like more likely that if we checked he might stab and he would call with worse. Maybe he just has 2 8s and calls anyway and just doesn't believe us. Up top pair here with an SPR of just over 2. So there's going to be no getting away. Just going to call here with that ace queen suited on the button against a what for this game is a particularly tight player who doesn't open very often. And again, now we have 2 overs and a backdoor straight draw and a nut flush draw. There's going to be no getting away from our hand. Flop trips over here on table 1. This guy goes with his patented min bet. Take it down on table 2. Right, yes, so the no limit hold'em point. I've been speaking to some players asking me about the games, etc. And I tell them, you know, you really want to just give them a look. You know, just play the smaller stakes like I am, see what you think of the game, etc. And I think there's like 2 things going on. Number one thing is they put so much work into their no limit hold'em game. They're just not that keen to walk away from the game, despite the fact that many of them are maybe just small winners, maybe even break-even players, good players now. You know, you can be pretty damn good at no limit hold'em and be break-even for like a long period of time, unless you play super high volume, so therefore, you know, you squeeze more hands into a day, etc. But even if you're very good, you know, what you're making, 2 to 4 blinds, 100 tops. But they're just so, like, and I'm not trying to, like, badger people into playing these games. People can do what they want. You know, I don't try and badger people to join the clubs anymore. They can do what they want. These games exist on PokerStars. They exist on Party Poker and GG, I believe. Although the rake is uncapped at GG, which seems fucking outrageous. So I'm not even trying to recruit them. I'm just like, come on, as a friend, as a contact, as an acquaintance, as a colleague, whatever you want to call it. You know, these games are just off the charts, and if you respect yourself as like I don't think you have to call it like respect yourself as a poker player. If you respect yourself as a gambler without like a decent degree of professionalism, then for me, you're just obliged to put yourself into the most profitable situations you can find. And if you're a good no limit hold'em player, or even just like a reasonably competent no limit hold'em player, I think we just have to bet big on this board here and call it off. Then you're going to do very well in these games very quickly. It doesn't take an awful lot of adjustment to become competent enough in really soft games like these. I mean, this guy's probably got more draws than he has, better hands than us. Our hand could certainly use some protection, and if we're beat, then we're beat. As it is, we just win a rather tasty pot. Over 100 antes. Maybe nice. Yeah, so I think we shouldn't. I mean, I was talking about this a lot in terms of we shouldn't pigeonhole ourselves, but I used to talk about we shouldn't pigeonhole ourselves as a 10-0 player or a 25-0 player or a 50-0 player. We should just play in games that were rolled for that look good on the day. So if you're rolled for 25-0, overrolled for it possibly, and you see a good 50-0 game one day, then you should probably sit it and grind it. But I think we've moved on from there, and I think now, well, in my personal opinion, if you want to continue being even a profitable micro-stakes player that makes a reasonable amount of money from the game in terms of win rate, then I think unless you are ridiculously good and have like a really big edge on the population, then to me you need to become more of an all-rounder and less of just a no-limit player. And could actually, what am I actually going to do here? I think this is a mistake. I think this is a mistake against somebody who 3-bets for like 50% of the stack. I mean, we won, but I think Ace King's bottom of his range there. I think it's right at the bottom of his range. The guy's only 3-betting 4% of hands. I'm not sure what 4% equates to in short deck, but it equates to a narrower range than it does in No Limit Hold'em, I guess, because we get dealt premium hands more. I think that's how it works. Oh, Reggie, that was a raise, you fucking idiot. That's annoying. That was a super trivial raise on this table. And now we're just going to stab when we flop something. We are not going to bet the turn against John Week. We're going to just hope to drill a 9. Nope, no 9. If he doesn't bet, I think we're going to bluff. Try and get him off like a 7 or an 8, but he just bets, so... Okay. So yeah, I think the time has passed for most, like, semi-recreational regulars. Like, the regulars, you know the type of me. The type of regular I am, who, like, has worked on his game, he's been profitable, doesn't do it full time as a living, but does poker as a bit of a side hustle. The time has passed for, I think, No Limit to be your main game. It's just too fucking tough now. It's a tough gig. There's not enough fish. There's lots and lots of players now that a lot of the. What do we want to do here? We just want to pile, actually. Get it in against the straight draw. Turn quads. Happy days. I've lost my train of thought now. Oh, we need to be doing a big fat chip withdrawal here, don't we? Yeah, I think the time has passed where you can do pretty good at poker without extensive study. I don't think it's good enough anymore to maybe watch a video a week or something, maybe watch a couple of videos. There's just so much goes into it, with like people running sims, like groups of people using solvers, or people using solver simplifications. They're just not, people just aren't making the same mistakes in No Limit Hold'em they used to make, and there isn't enough dead money in the games, in my opinion, to make it a worthwhile pursuit. Now, in these app clubs at the lower limits, like up to 25-0, that isn't true. If you're one of my players in these clubs and you're playing No Limit and you're doing okay, then you probably continue to do okay, because it's a different environment in these clubs. There's a lot more recreational players. I'm talking more about people who play No Limit Hold'em on mainstream sites, and I'm not trying to recruit you to these clubs. Obviously, if you want to come and join me, fantastic, but this really isn't the point that I'm making here. The point I'm making is, whatever site you play on, have a look at what other games they have. Have a look at what other formats they have, because you know, in No Limit Hold'em now, I mean, if you're breaking even, you're doing fucking good. Whereas, you know, you can just find some other games where there's just more headroom. I mean, in this game, there's probably going to be headroom for me to move up significantly higher, as long as I keep like studying the game a little bit and learning and staying ahead of the curve. In Pot Limit Omaha, for lots of players who like want to transition to that, there's still like lots of room, still lots of dead money in there, still room for profitable new players, for regs to improve and become profitable. I just don't believe that's something that exists as much in No Limit. I played a 20-0 No Limit session last night with Duesenberg. Actually, I just popped in the Discord chat on Sky and said, anyone fancy like a Discord No Limit table? I just fancied fucking round because I enjoy playing No Limit still if the conditions are right. If it's a tournament, yep, I can enjoy that. If it's a soft table, yep, I can enjoy that. Or if it's a table that's being played kind of just for fun, for shits and giggles way. You know, you don't care if you win or lose. You're not there to win. You're there to have fun. I can still enjoy No Limit Hold'em on that level. I just think as an income source for players who cannot commit to playing and studying full time, I think it's a really bad option right now. So I was playing anyway. To get back to the point, I was playing a No Limit session last night with Duesenberg. We started a couple of tables, and the tables were reasonable. There was 2 or 3 fish at a couple of tables, but we were having to hop around, and then tables got pretty reggy. And it's just 20-0 on Sky, and there was just like maybe I played for an hour and a half, 2 tabling, but maybe across 4 different tables over that time, and I saw maybe 4 or 5 fish maximum in that time, and then the rest of the players were just like really like dour, boring, nitty, even by my standards, super fucking nitty regs, and they're just like, what is this all about, you know, and what is going on with this game? I just don't. I think No Limit's fucked. I think online cash No Limit is fucked, basically. It's 10 here. This guy's putting some extra dead money in. We have to call 482. Oh, yeah, I think we've committed ourselves with that 85. Obviously the 910 rips us a new ass, but we get a chop out of it. We chop up the king. We chop up the ace king, which is delightful. So yeah, I think I'm gonna actually make a video about the state of online No Limit Hold'em in the coming. Why am I not in this pot? Why am I not in this fucking pot? I mean, we would have lost, but why am I not in it? I do not understand. What did I do? Or what didn't I do? I mean, obviously I folded at some point, but what? I also don't know why we've got so many chips at this table. Yeah, so I'm going to make a video, don't know when. I'm going to like write something out with like all the points I want to make, and then probably just do like a 25-30 minute ramble about why I think No Limit is fucked pretty much everywhere, even on the apps in my opinion. There's some good games in the like US facing clubs through the night on Poker Bros, but like 60-0 and above, even on the apps clubs that I'm in, it's not good. It's not good. It was good. I started doing this, promoting these games in like October 2019, and the amount the scene has changed since then is disappointing from a No Limit Hold'em perspective, but because these apps promote other games like 5-card PLO, 6-card PLO on Poker Bros and UPoker, PP recently introduced Pineapple. They've run this game for a while, and disappointingly I've not been in them. I've just avoided it because I'd still thought, like many others, you know, No Limit Hold'em's where I put the work in. No Limit Hold'em's where I have the edge, and I'm just not going to give up on the work I've put into the game. But a lot of the skills that you have in No Limit Hold'em transition very well to this game anyway. Yeah, that the No Limit Hold'em scene has changed very much for the worse. But there's plenty of other options out there for us. You're not a no limit hold'em player. You're a poker player. You're not just a poker player. You're a semi-professional gambler. You know, or you're a gambler with a kind of professional way of approaching it. It's our job to play games where we like maximize our EV. That is our job. Now, whether that's, you know, in some really sick no limit hold'em games that you find, maybe that's in Pot Limit Omaha, maybe that's in whatever it's in. But it's, you know, you're not being as professional as you could be if you refuse to explore like new avenues of potential profit. As things move on, the game moves on, you know, like life moves on. No Limit, in my opinion, has had its day online. Or at least No Limit, 100 blinds deep, no ante. I think there's things you can do to improve No Limit online. I think increasing the minimum buy-in to 100 big blinds, increasing the maximum buy-in to maybe 500 big blinds, and having a big ante in the game, not a pissy little shitty ante, but a big juicy ante in the games, would make a significant difference to the playability of No Limit Hold'em. I think, you know, like if you're playing like 500 big buy-in, max buy-in, with, you know, decent ante, not like a 10% of the big blind jobby, but, you know, maybe everyone antes one small blind, and, you know, then there's a small and big blind in there as well. Some of the massively changes like the current state of the game, which is basically just pretty nitty shitty formulaic poker. Anything that shakes it up like that, anything that shakes it up like that is going to be good for the game. It's going to make it much more interesting. This guy c-bets way too often. We've got a pair and an open ender. It's a pretty high variance spot because we are deep, and I know he's not going to fold, but we can't just call. We have too much equity to fold, so let's just roll it against him. We're actually ahead, not anymore, and there we go. That's disappointing, but against that player there, once we get that flop, we just have to go with it. We're just going to have way too much equity against him. I mean, we're probably not that far up being a favourite against his over pairs. I'd actually rather maybe seen him have the over pair there than what he actually had. Never mind, he's very aggro, he's got a very high c-bet, and he uses very large sizings when he does it. Once we flop what is effectively second pair and an open ender, then it's just time to run it against him. It's a shame we were as deep as we were. Could we like lost an extra half a buy-in or whatever than we would have if we'd had smaller stacks, but I don't suppose it matters that much. If something's plus EV, something's making money, then I guess it doesn't matter if it's 100 bigs, 200 bigs, 400 bigs. If it's making money, it's making money, isn't it? So yeah, I've been a bit incoherent with that. I'm going to do a lot better job of it in a video in the hopefully near future. I need to write something first to make sure I've collected all my thoughts before I just make a video where I ramble again. Our friend here calls. We're going to check raise most flops against this dude here. I think that definitely being one of them. Of course he doesn't bet, which is unfortunate. So now we just need to think of, if I bet like 100 here, 110 maybe, and we can just shut our eyes and shove all ribbers. I mean, 10 of hearts is a particularly bad one, but we have like a pot size bet left. He doesn't just have to have straights and flushes here. He can certainly have worse. That calls. So I don't think he has like a set of 8s or 6s. I think he just bets them on the flop. Don't think he has a set of kings very often, because I think he just 3 bets that pre-flop. So there's not a lot he can have there, but he can probably have some 2 pairs. I mean, I've seen the guy get in there with that 8-6 offsuit for large raises pre, so he can certainly have like flop bottom 2 pairs that just decide to say fuck it. That's a diabolical ribber. And it's an incredibly easy fold. I mean, to be fair, thinking back, I probably, and I'm not saying I'm the only one because I'm obviously not, but I've seen the writing on the wall for online no limit for like the past 2.5, 3 years because I've been dabbling with PLO for that long. But I think in like the last 6 months, things seem to really accelerated negatively for the games in terms of like just how much worse they've got in the last maybe 6 to 9 months. I think there's a few things going on. I think COVID's definitely has something to do with it. I think like with people, I think this COVID is like a double-edged sword effect really. Some people who maybe can't afford to play, maybe they've lost their jobs, maybe they're furloughed and they can't afford to, they haven't got the same amount of money in their pockets to play with. That's certainly one reason why I think they've gone a bit worse because just less people playing. Even though we have seen like mini booms in tournaments and things, we haven't seen the same in cash games. Tournaments have kind of boomed. Sky are doing really well at the minute. They're fucking smashing guarantees all over. They're increasing guarantees in some events. I think like the Monday main event on Sky had an increased guarantee this week. We're not seeing that in cash games, so I think that's happened. But also, you got some regulars who like work as well, who maybe haven't been working as much. Maybe they've been working less. Maybe they've been not working at all. Maybe they've been furloughed. Or maybe they've lost their jobs but they're deciding to give poker a go. More seriously, they've got more time to play and more time to study, so they're just getting better at the same time that maybe less recreational players are playing. And I think maybe COVID's accelerated the degradation of the games. But yeah, I'm not going to go on about it too much now, but I am going to write some shit about it. I think with a flush draw here, which is going to beat any full houses, and a good shot, we're obliged to call this 55 chip bet, and we do make a flush. And we're going to go big here. Because full houses just are not going to fold. Maybe even Queen X doesn't fold. And it's way harder for him to have higher flushes. Because there just aren't that many. What is the, like, Ace King, Ace Jack. That's it. Just less out there. But it's also way harder for him to have lower flushes too. Did he call with a full house? No, he folded a full house. And so when you have a flush in this game, you just way, it's a medium-sized flush. You're way less likely to be like flush over flushed. The downside to that is when you have a nut flush, you're way less likely to flush over flush people. Well, flush is a very strong hand in these games to beat full houses. For those who don't know. I'm going to go for about 5 more minutes. With this being like a... Oh, what am I doing there, you dickhead? With this being like a challenge video, I'm a bit conflicted when to make the next one. So if I make another one tomorrow morning, then we're not going to move on much from today. So there's not going to be much of an update to the challenge, if you will. But Friday morning, I might not have a ton of time to make one because my wife will be home from work early, and I'm also going for my COVID vaccination on Friday too. So I'm not sure how I'm going to feel after having that. I'm terrified of fucking needles and injections, so I'm not looking forward to it. And even if I do feel like playing after it, which I most likely will, my wife's going to be around and I can't be asked relocating to make a video. So there might not be, after today, there might not be another video until next week, next Monday maybe. And who knows, the way it's going, maybe the challenge is going to be completed by then, and we'll be moving on to the next stage, which is the next limit up. Who knows? I was hoping to make more videos than this, but yeah, doing a challenge, because I'm not planning on playing much after this session today. We've got the young ladies staying with this afternoon. There's also snooker on that I want to watch, and then this evening I'll be watching a Sky streamer, PK Apar. If you haven't followed him on Twitter, if you're not aware of him, he's a very amusing Scotsman who likes to get fucking wasted on stream by drinking way too many shots, and then playing poker on a drunken head. So yeah, if you've never watched PK Apar, then do tune in tonight. You will enjoy it. I promise you, it's got a lovely community there. So I'm watching that in the evening. Maybe I'll play later on, but then it's not the Dur challenge, it's the Polk Negreanu challenge. So basically, after to finish this session, I've pretty much got plans for the rest of the day that don't involve me playing much poker. But we've put a good session in. It's going to be almost 3 hours by the time we've finished. So I'm not unhappy with my grind. I kind of knew that's how my day was going to look, which is why I started early. I mean, we just got too much equity to fold here. We've got basically an ace and a nine. We've got a gut shot and we've got a flush draw. Like up against a pair. Now we need the flush. We didn't get there. I think his play with pocket eights there is ambitious. I mean, he got it in there in his pretty much his best scenario, and you know, I'm not convinced to know the maths of this, but I think he was likely an underdog. Very likely he was an underdog there. Right. No hand here, so stand up. No hand here, so stand up. And top two pair here, so all in, I guess, at this SPR. And then stand up. Now we're going to end the video on a high. We're going to be hitting and running. We are hitting and running. Thank you. Bye. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope like the little ramble wasn't too dull and long for you. Let's see how we did for the day in the end. We're justified buy-ins. Oh, near enough. 4 and a bit. There's 4 and a bit buy-ins in 633 hands on top of the... So we played like 1,100 hands since the last video that we made yesterday morning, which I'm pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased with playing 1,000 hands in a day. And we've made 10,000 chips, which is 20 buy-ins, which is pretty fucking cool. I haven't had a 20 buy-in 24 hours in as long as I can remember. So yeah, what's... Oh, we can't tell now. I'm just going to pause a moment because I don't want to show other people's bankrolls. So yeah, we're now on 24,407 chips, and I think the stated goal was get to 30. That was make 20,000 chips and move up, and we started at something like 10,140. So all in all, we've made like 14,000 chips, which doesn't feel right. It must be right, but it doesn't feel it because it's saying that we've only won like 10,000 in that results thing. Not sure, but I know we started this with like something like 10,100 and something chips, and now we've got 24,000. So we're basically 3/4 of the way to the challenge after 24 hours. Now, obviously, as we talked about at the start, you know, we could certainly drop back. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see this drop back to 17, 18,000. I mean, I've ran incredibly hot. It's entirely possible that tomorrow I run incredibly shit and just give 10 buy-ins back. It's that sort of game. You know, is a 20 buy-in 24 hours unusual? Yeah. It's probably outside of the norm. But, you know, daily 5 to 8 buy-in swings. If I'm, say, playing 1,000 hands a day on average, I'd imagine swings of between 5 and 10 buy-ins could be a daily basis thing. You know, I'd say the median is, you know, it's probably over 1,000 hands. Probably expect to win maybe 1.5, 2 buy-ins. given how soft the games are. But within that, there's obviously variance. Yesterday was a fucking ridiculous day. We made way more than we're supposed to. Tomorrow, we might lose way more than we're supposed to. Who knows? Do I think I'm a favourite to get to 30,000 before we drop to 15,000? Absolutely, I do. But it's not a certainty. So yeah, stay tuned. Next video is probably going to be on Monday. Hopefully by then we'll be playing higher stakes. If not, then we'll play more of this, which is still an awful lot of fun. But take care, everybody. Have fun. Stay safe. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again Monday. Bye bye for now.